Alright guys, welcome to this next video. 5 weeks out from the first show. Today is my final session of the week, my RDL session, which is always definitely a hard one. Again, like last time I also documenting that session. So today I try to give a few more cues, few more tips for that session. Let's get it slowly going. So I switch one thing up, is like instead of having 2 getaweights, I try to see how it is with like 1 getaweight now and like 1 sugar-free getaweight. Since my pre-workout meal is usually like already quite loaded with carbs. So this way I can have just a bigger evening meal mostly. Like my post-workout is the same size, but my evening meal can be this way, a slight bit bigger. So it's already like 35 grams of carbs within one bottle, and I drink first the sugar-free one, and then mid-session I get the one with carbs in. This will be the plan. We're starting over with RDLs, and a little tip on RDLs is like a main thing here to like really bias the hamstrings more is we want to shoot the hips not only back, you want to shoot them in a way like back and up. So this means if we just shoot the hips back and down, what is often the case, yeah, we can move a little bit more load. However, the glutes are joining much more in, and by putting the hips back and up, it is more so much more hamstring biased in a way. So that is like a big tip, especially to target the hamstrings much more than RDLs. It brought my hamstrings up a lot. I would say the main movement is RDLs, what got my hamstrings to the next level. And doing it like this, with the legs not totally straight, a little bit more straight, but the hips also more up. And therefore I get great tension into the hamstring. So you're going to see that in the next, like in the training clip on it. And that is like, yeah, big tip on RDLs. Also, a question I got a few times as of right now is why I'm moving like less load on my RDLs compared to like 1, 2, 3 years ago. Also on presses, on a lot of movements. So again, my goal is to make it as challenging as possible, and it doesn't mean like more load equals more gains. Never goes hand in hand. It comes on how you move the load in a way. So this means there's nothing wrong with like chasing strength, getting strong. That is like one way to make gains. However, it doesn't mean if we move less load that we get less stimulus in. So it's often the thinking of like, hey, I move less load, so the stimulus will be less, which isn't true. It's like really like so much depending on like how challenging we make it within execution, within everything. So this means like we can get huge amounts of mechanical tension in by making it like harder in a way. And that is just like one strategy. Doesn't apply to anyone, or not everyone enjoys it. But in my context, my personal context, it's like being very prone to injuries. I'm found this is like the best way for me, like the optimal way to make gains, especially long term. So that is the main reason behind it. So don't be scared to reduce the load while making it harder. Again, doesn't mean like more load equals more gains. Oh, fuck. Alright guys, this set really fired me up. 3 sets done. And as you maybe saw as well, like how calm you go into the set. It's one thing as well when you get very lean, and it's still like pre-digging stage, pre-stage where it's like, where my body is like on a really high alert mode. So it's just like a prevention thing. Like my body knows, okay, what you're getting into right now, it's very dangerous. You're not in a well-fed state. You're very lean, and therefore I treat it with even more respect, like the movement. So I go into it and yeah, I give it a lot of respect. I'm like high-end focus, and my body in a way automatically, intuitively gets me into that state of like, keep it very high alert. What you're doing here is quite dangerous, so keeping it up. Now, lying leg curls, myo reps, leg press afterwards, harder stuff done. Then we go to adductors, calves, abs, biceps. Let's go. Fucking hell. Ah. Oh. Feels good. 12, 10, 8. Oh, that is the kind of stuff what makes me really appreciate my rest days, especially tomorrow and Sunday. Oh, shit. Right, guys, final movement of the session. Shout out to Edmund if you watched that one. Doing now the Bayesian course seated, which makes it in a way more stabilized. I don't need to stabilize, and as well, like sometimes someone is using the other side of the cable, so I can really standardize it, and I can some degree like stabilize my shoulder a little bit more by like leaning against it. So it's amazing. Myo reps going down. Right, training session done, guys. And every vlog I want to share also like a few like valuable tips. So I now like make a kind of list before I do the vlog that I can speak about like 1, 2, 3 things I'm thinking about and where I think like, hey, you guys can benefit from that. So as of my latest video, my full day of eating, I want to talk briefly about having a meal plan versus if it fits your macros, flexible dieting, call whatever you want it. So I would say the best place where the best results happen, where you have the best consistency and where you feel the best and have also therefore the best results is something in between. So when we go for both extremes, let's say like a meal plan, very super rigid, you can't even swap out strawberries with some other food, or you can't swap out rice with potatoes. At some point it can become very stressful of like, hey, you want to maybe eat something else, or on that specific day you feel like you want to have this or that. This can create a huge amount of stress. Then on the other side, if it's with your macros, flexible dieting, when you're always looking for that new magic food, like that food what magically makes your hunger go away, and you're always looking out, that is also very stressful, and also like having like no structure at all, where on some days you have 2 meals, on some days you are fasting for 12 hours. So I would say the best part is in the middle way. We take elements from a meal plan, the structure, all of it, and also like not swapping like foods out way too much or looking for something else all the time. And then we're taking like the flexible approach from flexible dieting, where if we feel like we want to have something else on that specific day, we can have it. We can swap out the carbs with some other carbs, or the protein with some other protein, while still having like, again, like the same structure, like a regular, like usual amount of meals. Like even a normal person who's not even into bodybuilding usually eats around the same time every day, and they also usually eat the same foods more or less until they get a little bored, swapping it out with something else. And that is like, in my opinion, the best way to go, where we have that middle in between. And yeah, that is like my take on meal plan versus flexible dieting. And I think we need to some degree go into both extremes at a time. Like at my first 3 years training, I was like on such a rigid meal plan where I ate every 3 hours. I was in school, I was going to the toilet to eat my meal. Like every 3 hours. I was like, if it was a few minutes after, I got super stressed. And I got like that super neurotic extreme. And then on the other side, I was like so flexible, where I was like, spend half an hour in the supermarket, or was like online looking like, oh, maybe I should buy this or that or this or that. So, and this again is like very stressful. So finding that middle, and to some degree, you need to go a little too much in this extreme or a little too much in this extreme until you find your sweet spot. And that sweet spot looks very much different from person to person. So some people need to have like more kind of like a meal plan. Someone tends a little bit more to that flexible approach, but still no extremes. That is the main thing. So that's my take on that. Leaving it here, guys, and I will see you in the next one. All right.